Dayu, a people's police officer who upholds justice, suffers from the same problem as many older single men: constant pressure to get married. His mother worries endlessly that Dayu, 29 years old and single since birth, will never find a partner. In her anxiety, she went to a shaman and obtained a talisman said to help one quickly find their destined companion, if it was pasted on the wardrobe door on the night of the full moon. Dayu wanted to refuse, but his eardrums were nearly blasted apart by his mother's yelling. To keep her from getting angry, Dayu obediently pasted the talisman onto the wardrobe door. What he never expected was that when he woke up the next morning and opened the wardrobe, a young, unfamiliar man was lying inside. While Dayu's mind was reeling from the shock, the man inside was awakened by the blinding light. He rubbed his eyes and looked up. The moment their eyes met, both of them screamed in terror. "Are you my destined partner?" Dayu blurted out. The man froze, stunned by the absurd question, his brain spinning rapidly as he tried to process the situation. The man's name was Dojun. In truth, he was a thief. The night before, he had secretly broken into Dayu's home. He rummaged through drawers and cabinets for a long time, only to realize there was nothing suitable to steal, nothing whose disappearance wouldn't immediately lead the homeowner to call the police. Just as he was feeling frustrated, he suddenly heard the beeping sound of a password lock being unlocked. Panicking, Dojun hurriedly searched for a place to hide. In the end, he chose the only possible hiding spot, the wardrobe, and slipped inside. After avoiding detection, Dojun relaxed. Once he did, sleepiness crept over him. Thinking he wouldn't be able to leave for a while anyway, he decided to take a short nap and sneak out later in the middle of the night. What he failed to account for was just how good he was at sleeping. Dojun ended up sleeping in the wardrobe all the way until morning, only to be discovered by the homeowner. Fortunately, the homeowner was somewhat superstitious. With that advantage, Dojun decided to go along with the situation for now, planning to find an opportunity to quietly slip away later. "Yes," he said calmly. "I'm the destined partner you summoned." Police officer Dayu mistakenly took the thief hiding in his wardrobe for a heaven-sent destined partner, and even kept him by his side, bringing him along to the police station for work. The moment Dojun arrived at the station, he panicked. He never imagined that a simple burglary would land him in a police officer's home, much less get him dragged straight into a police station afterward. But since he was already there, escape wasn't possible for the moment. So Dojun steeled himself and walked into the station. Before he'd even had time to properly sit down, the police received a call and the entire team was mobilized to catch a thief. Dojun, who wasn't part of the police force, was arranged to stay in the car and watch it. Resting his chin in his hand, he watched the officers running off in formation, quietly weighing whether he should take this chance to slip away. However, as a seasoned thief himself, Dojun accurately predicted the escape route the criminal would take. Just as the thief was about to get away, Dojun darted forward and tripped him, allowing Dayu, who had nearly missed his chance, to successfully apprehend the suspect. "Today was really thanks to you," Dayu said afterward. "That thief was caught so smoothly. How did you know his escape route?" Dojun felt a chill run through his entire body at the question. "I can't exactly tell you that I'm a thief too," he thought, "and that I'm so familiar with the area because I'm often chased by the police." So he brushed it off casually. "I just somehow knew." Dayu took it as a special ability of a destined partner and didn't pursue the topic any further. "No matter what," Dayu said sincerely, "we were lucky to have you today. Thank you, truly." Dojun, who had spent his whole life being hated, rejected, and chased away, was being thanked so earnestly for the first time ever. And this man, whether in looks or physique, was completely his type. With the atmosphere just right and emboldened by a bit of alcohol, Dojun suddenly pushed Dayu down. "If I'm really your destined partner," he murmured, leaning close, "then shouldn't our relationship be allowed to become a little closer?" Straight man Dayu, single since birth for 29 years, finally discovered the true reason he had remained alone for so long. It turned out that his destined partner was a man. Last episode ended with Dayu and Dojun caught up in intense emotions, the atmosphere perfectly charged. Just as they were about to explore more adult topics, Dayu's overly worried mother, who had been fretting for years over her unmarried son, showed up at the door. Panicking, Dayu hurriedly stuffed Do-jun back into the wardrobe. The moment his mother stepped inside, she started looking around suspiciously. "The shaman told me your destined partner has already appeared," she said, suddenly grabbing Dayu's arm with a grave expression. "If you want your destined partner not to disappear, the two of you must not be too intimate right now. Your first adult private talk must take place only when the new moon rises." Naturally, Dayu didn't want Do-jun to vanish, so he carefully followed his mother's instructions, beginning to avoid Do-jun at every turn. He made excuses to move to the living room and sleep on the couch. When responding to calls, he deliberately rode in a different car from Do-jun. Whenever Do-jun tried to get close, Dayu would bolt away at full speed. Over time, the unaware Do-jun began to believe that Dayu simply didn't like men, and that all this avoidance was his way of making his stance clear. Do-jun turned around and went back to Dayu's place, retrieved his phone, and planned to leave before his feelings grew any deeper. However, once again, he severely underestimated the quality of his own sleep. He only meant to take a short afternoon nap, yet ended up sleeping straight through until Dayu got off work. That day happened to be the day the new moon rose. Dayu decided that tonight, he would finally let Do-jun enter his back garden. He even sought advice from a glasses-wearing senior at the police station who seemed to know everything. With mutual understanding, Dayu and Do-jun hit it off instantly. After 300 fierce rounds of battle, Dayu dragged his sore, exhausted body away to grab some clothes and take a shower. But by chance, he noticed Do-jun's phone. In the phone's photo gallery were numerous intimate pictures of Do-jun with other people. A strange young man had suddenly appeared inside the wardrobe. Dayu believed this was the blessing his mother had prayed for, a heaven-sent destined partner. What he never knew was that after their first moment of sweetness, he would discover Do-jun's phone. Inside the photo gallery were countless pictures of Do-jun looking like a total playboy, arms slung over others' shoulders, posing intimately as if he were flirting with the whole world. Dayu held the phone out in front of him and demanded, "What is this?" Do-jun flinched at the question. By then, he had already fallen deeply into this relationship. He didn't want to keep lying to Dayu anymore, but he also couldn't bring himself to reveal the truth that he was a thief. All Do-jun could do was lower his head and apologize, over and over again, whispering, "I'm sorry." Dayu, unwilling to listen to explanations that never came, threw Do-jun out of the house. Do-jun cried his heart out at the doorway, completely breaking down. It was Dayu who had driven him away, but afterward, he was the one who lived in constant misery. For more than a month, he couldn't pull himself together. He sighed endlessly, made frequent mistakes at work, and lost all focus. Around that time, the police caught a fake shaman who had been selling so-called imperial talismans and profiting illegally from superstition. It was because of that cursed talisman that Dayu's relationship had ended in deception. Without thinking twice, Dayu stormed up and fiercely berated the fake shaman. "I heard from your mother that you found a partner," the shaman said smugly. "If you're not thanking me, fine. But why are you angry at me?" Yes. Why was he so angry? Only then did Dayu finally face his true feelings, his desire to spend his entire life with Do-jun. Amid the noisy, chaotic scene, the glasses-wearing senior suddenly spoke up. "Actually, Do-jun is at my place. That day, when I was heading to work, I saw him sitting at the entrance of the police station, crying so hard his nose and eyes were red. So I took him in." At that moment, the fake shaman finally realized why Dayu was furious. It was just a lover's quarrel. "Oh, so that's it," the shaman said knowingly. "Well then, I happen to have a very powerful talisman here, one that can make lovers reconcile instantly. I'll give it to you for free. Want it?" Do-jun, who had been kicked out by his lover Dayu, had nowhere to go. Fortunately, the glasses-wearing senior from the police station was kind enough to take him in temporarily. That day, while Do-jun was using physical labor to pay his rent, someone knocked on the door. When he opened it, he saw Dayu standing there, snowflakes clinging to his body. Do-jun still wasn't ready to confess everything to Dayu. Hesitant and unsure, he instinctively tried to retreat. But Dayu suddenly took out a pair of handcuffs and snapped them onto Do-jun's wrist. "Nowhere left to run, is there?" Dayu said coldly. "I won't let you go until you explain everything clearly." Left with no choice, Do-jun finally told the truth, confessing everything from beginning to end. After understanding the full story, Dayu suddenly slapped a yellow talisman onto Do-jun's forehead. "I heard this is a talisman that can catch fleeing prey," Dayu said seriously. "Once it's on, within 5 seconds, as long as I say the word, we can start dating again. You choose." With that, Dayu closed his eyes and began counting down from 5. Seeing that Dayu didn't despise him for being a thief, Do-jun was so moved that tears streamed down his face. In an atmosphere like this, of course they had to cling to each other. However, the third wheel standing at the doorway, the senior, was not having it. "This is still my house, you know." With that, he unceremoniously kicked the shameless, affectionate couple right out the door. Do-jun earned Dayu's forgiveness, and with it, the official title of boyfriend. Naturally, he immediately began pushing his luck. "So you accepted me because of the talisman," Do-jun teased. "Not because you actually like me, right?" Irritated, Dayu pinched shut Do-jun's endlessly chattering mouth. "Do-jun, you are my destined partner," he said firmly. "I can only love you for the rest of my life. Do you understand?" Hearing Dayu's confession, Do-jun didn't even have time to be moved. The very next second, both of his hands were cuffed together by Dayu. "But," Dayu added calmly, "who told you to steal? And steal from a police officer's house, of all places? Come with me and turn yourself in first."